Hi there Year 10, it's Mrs. Reed here. Unfortunately I can't be there with you in the classroom today, so I have recorded our lessons, but I will be back for our lesson on Friday. Can I ask you first of all please to make a note of our title, that's Linking Advertising and Film, and also to write down today's date and underline both with a ruler. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is a retrieval quiz. That means we're going to be thinking about our learning from the last half term and answering some questions from memory. So I would like you please to write down in the margin of your page the numbers 1 to 5. And you have 5 minutes to work through the 5 questions. We'll pause the video here for you to write down your answers, and then we'll self-mark at the end. You can write the short answer for this, by the way. You do not have to write in full sentences for this task. Okay, so once we're ready to move on then, what we need to do is mark. So I'm going to go through each question, go through the answers, and I'd like you to tick them if you got them right, but make sure you fix them up if you got them incorrect or if there was something that you missed. So number 1, which type of advertising sells the audience a product? Well done if you remembered that this was commercial advertising. What type of advertising raises awareness of an issue or promotes a charity? Well, that one was non-commercial advertising. What does ADA stand for? Okay, so this was an acronym that we used to try and remember the 4 purposes of advertising. So we said A stood for awareness, I for interest, D for desire, and A for action. Okay, well done if you remembered all 4 of those. Number 4 then, which advert featured Major Quality and Miss Sweetly peering out from a golden frame? Well, the answer to that was Quality Street. And what year was it published in? Okay, this was a historical advertising text that we studied, and it was published in 1956. Okay, finally then, which advert features a mid-shot of a woman dancing and the slogan, sweating like a pig, feeling like a fox? The answer to that was the This Girl Can campaign. And that one was released in 2016. Excuse my scrappy handwriting on this using this pen. Okay, well done everyone, give yourself a mark out of 5. So this is all about, today's lesson is all about linking our learning. We're going to be studying the film industry this half term. We're going to be having a closer look at the James Bond franchise. But we still have one more advertising text to study as part of component 1. And that helpfully is also a Bond film poster. So we can use today's lessons as a useful bridge between the 2 units. The first thing we're going to understand is something called the film chain, and then we're going to be looking at film posters and their conventions. So the film chain is a really useful way to start thinking about the film industry and studying the process film goes through from its initial idea at the development kind of stage all the way through to it being made and becoming available for an audience to watch and to enjoy. So I would like you to start with some discussion. We'll pause the video here in a second And I want you to talk to somebody next to you on your row about what you think is involved in the making of the film. What steps would need to be taken before it can reach an audience? And if you want to, you could write it down. You could list as many things as you can think of that would be involved in the making of a film. Pause the video and spend 2 minutes on that task now, please. Okay, so there are so many different things involved with the making of a film, so I hope that you did have quite a significant list and lots of things that you've discussed. We are not going to go through every single part of this today, but it is useful to start thinking about all of the work that must go into even just coming up with an idea, pitching it to your studio or investor first of all. All of those things involved in the pre-production, so we've got the screenwriter creating a script, we've got the hiring of all the crew, making sure that they're all, working together as a team. We've got things like storyboards, costume designs. We need to get out there and look at location, where and how it's going to be filmed. Through the actual shooting of the film then, we've got a director who's obviously overseeing everything, production designers, cinematographers who are going to be thinking about those camera shots, all those technical codes and lighting. We've even got makeup artists, as well as the actors, music editors, sound editors, all of these different people working together. And we're going to go into post-production as well, where you've got to think about any special effects. Perhaps there's lots of CGI being used and green screen, blue screen work. So there's so much involved in actually making a film a real physical, tangible thing. Is that this huge kind of journey that the film must go on before it can reach an audience can really be simplified down in media terms to 4 key stages. We talk about in media the production, the distribution, the marketing and the exhibition of a film. Obviously there's many more kind of complexities and details than that, but this is a good way to guide our thinking about the way in which a film is made and that process or chain of events. So when we have the production, we're talking about anything that's gone into the actual making of that film. When we look at distribution, we're thinking about how that film then is put out there, what distribution agreements are made perhaps with other companies in order to be able to share that film more widely. Then comes the marketing, the promotion of the film, where we're looking at selling it to the audience. And finally, we get to the exhibition stage where we're ready to show the film, and that might be shown in a cinema. It might be shown in an IMAX theatre. It might go straight to a streaming site such as Netflix or Disney+. So I would like you now to draw yourself a version of the film chain. So we will be referring back to this throughout the term. Feel free to, make it as simplistic or fancy as you like. You can either just draw a line across or you can draw a chain. And equally, you can just label each one, or you could do an icon to go with. So pause the video and spend a few minutes drawing yourself a version of the film chain. Okay, so we're actually going to pick up here at this stage, at the marketing stage of the film chain, and that is where we've got our nice link to advertising. Film marketing is a form of advertising, and it's all about promoting a film to an audience, attracting an audience so that they go and view it in a cinema. And film marketing is a really important part of the process. Without that, we're not going to generate people's interest, and media producers spend a huge amount of money on this. It says here a lot of their budget on marketing. In fact, it's separate from the production budget. Just to give you one example, the most recent Bond film, No Time to Die, actually had a marketing budget of over $100 million. So when we talk about marketing, we can link it back to ADA. The audiences need to be aware that a new film is being released. Creating hype around the film then is important to gain an audience's interest. An engaging build-up to the film's release over time really increases people's desire to see it. And audiences need to know where and when the film is exhibited in order to take action and go and buy that cinema ticket. So I'm going to use an example for marketing before we start getting into looking at film posters. So my example here is Jurassic World. And I know I've said to you guys before, but I just love the Jurassic Park franchise. But I picked this one because I remember really being excited, being hyped to want to go and see Jurassic World when it came out. And there's a number of reasons for that. So I thought this is a good place to start, thinking about a film that you've either been to see recently or one that you were really, really keen to go and see, and thinking about why. What was it that made you want to go and see it? Beyond just the idea that it looked a bit entertaining, there might be other factors that really appeal to an audience. So when I was going off to see Jurassic World, there's a number of things that would have worked. So the viewer, it says here, enjoyed the film, the original films, and therefore was already familiar with the franchise. Yes, that was a big draw for me. This was a new film that was part of a franchise, a sequence of films, hadn't released one for many years, and it used lots of the kind of iconography linked to the original Jurassic Park film. The brand was easily recognisable, yet we can clearly see in the kind of posters all of the logo that's been used throughout every single Jurassic Park film. The trailer, it says, showcases the use of special effects. Yeah, it did look really visually wonderful and appealing. Everyone was talking about it. Word of mouth is really, really powerful. There's reviews in magazines. They may have been a bit mixed, but I wanted to go to the cinema, see for myself what it was all about and make my own judgment. And of course as well, this was a family film in terms of its certificate. It wasn't an 18, so it was one that could be a shared experience. I could go with the other members of my household and go and watch this film that, one, I'd enjoyed as a child, but two, was a new kind of iteration and version of that